anyhow, there's a link down at the bottom, and you click on that, and it tells you, how many, for the recovery location, how many times it's been entered. Now, when I say recovery location, understand this. If you recover a gun on Independence Boulevard, say 123 Independence, you're going to get thousands of hits because every officer that's ever stopped anybody that's recovered a gun on Independence Boulevard, that's how it counts it. It don't count it by the actual address. It counts it by the location, that being Independence Boulevard. But there's a wealth of information you can get through there, and you should have a system administrator for the E-Trace. And all they got to do is add your name into the system, and then you can go in and you can search. And they just recently upgraded that now where you can share your information with other agencies. You do a user's agreement, so then when you trace stuff, then like me, when it pulled up Stanley County Sheriff's Office, I had to physically call them on the telephone. Well, once you sign the user's agreement, you're able to go in and pull their actual trace up and see the details of it. I don't think so, yeah.
Sworn or non-sworn can get access through E-Trace as long as your administrator and your chief signs off on it?
The system administrator is the one that determines who gets that.
I had a question for him. Are you saying you only get the original purchaser information?
Yeah, that's
So
in my.
if it's sold to somebody else and somebody else, you're
No,
not.
I don't see any trace information. And I mean, I've talked to. I don't know. I guess I'm not talking to the right people.
Yeah,
That'd be a good point to go back.
because when you pull it up on the electronic thing, it'll tell you where it was manufactured and who it was sold to. It shows you the line from the manufacturer through the wholesaler, through the retailer, to the original purchaser.
Yeah, that's all.
Now, the original purchaser may not be the actual owner,
Right.
but that's a good place to start. That's better than nothing. Then you call them and they say, well, I sold that gun. Well, who'd you sell it to? And if they tell you, well, I resold that gun at such and such place, then you can call that place, and on their books they can look it up to see who it was actually sold to. Hold on, man.
Okay, like I just said, she's the original owner, okay? We call her, and she says she sold it to him, but we have no information for him. Okay, we get a hold of him, and he says he sold it to him, and we get to him, and we don't have no information to him. Then what do we do? You know what I'm saying? It don't tell you step by step. If a gun was, it's just going to tell you the original owner, like in 1999. From 1999 to now, it's not going to tell you everybody where that gun.
Right, it's not going to tell you the entire history of it.
But if you can't find the original owner, then you sell or trade the gun, correct? You take it off of a drug dealer, and you trace it back, and you can't find the original owner, then you sell and trade it, correct?
Yeah, you can do that, and that's one of the reasons of doing it through a federal firearms licensee, is so that they do the ATF form showing that it was sold on such and such date. It kind of gets it off you.
The original owner.
Yeah,
Who the original owner sold it to.
well, from what I found out through the ATF paperwork is that they're required to turn them in ever so often, and that's when those records get updated. So, like, if I'm a private individual selling firearms, I may not turn my paperwork in for a year, 2 years, whatever. So that's when the agencies have to contact the dealer to have them to look in their books. Now, if you go to a place like Bass Pro Shop or Walmart or places like that sell a lot of guns, they do stuff electronically. Because I've actually traced guns before that was sold 2 days prior through Bass Pro Shop. So they're updating their records on a continuous basis somehow. I mean, I don't have all the answers on how that works. But yeah, a lot of times they have to go back to the original books, and a lot of times you just hit a dead end. But still, tracing it, particularly if we're going to resell them, us tracing them is very important, because then we are establishing some type of record, and we can say, well, yeah, we had that gun on this date and it was involved in this crime with this person, but then we sold it to Lawman's. And then they would go to Lawman's, and Lawman's would look in their books that says, yeah, we had it, and this is who it was sold to. Anybody else? It's good questions. I mean, how many people do E-Trace in here? Okay, that's good. I know it's a pain, particularly for Charlotte Mecklenburg, probably that gets 1,000 guns in what, a day? But overall, it's worth the effort, I think, and the ATF definitely appreciates it because it establishes a chain for them as well. The other thing for those who do the electronic ones, and like when you start doing them, if the gun was sold within 2 years, it's time to crime is 2 years or less. It gives you this little thing that says ATF actively investigates. Well, they're not going to call you on the phone and say, hey, I see you ran a gun. They want you to actually pick up the phone and call the local ATF agent to inform them, hey, we just recovered this gun and it's been less than 2 years. And they actively go out and find out, because that helps them establish straw purchasers who are going out and buying guns for individuals that's not supposed to have guns and then reselling them.
I have a question. It's not about E-Trace, but it's about the trading guns, the moments and stuff like that. For the agencies that do that, for the agencies that are trading their guns to lawmans, I'm wondering if you've ever had any problems with your county saying that you are not giving a fair chance to all the other FFL dealers in your area. I mean, if you just pick one and say, okay, we're going to trade our guns to you, you know what I'm saying? How do y'all have any problems with other agencies, other dealers complaining?
Have a bid process?
Like once a year?
What do you do?
We just offer, we do a list of all the guns and the conditions and the various FFLs in our area, bid on them.
I'll make a quick comment about that. Obviously, I'd like to get all your guns, but however, whatever fair way you can do it, I will make one suggestion. When the guns get bid out, and you're bidding these guns out to the highest bidder, you really are in the business of selling guns, and most agencies don't want to be in that business. The benefit and the reason I tell you to do it with us is because you're going to get trade-in value towards equipment the department's already going to purchase. I mean, every agency in this room buys equipment from us. When Bob's Gun and Tackle gets your guns, they're going to either have to give you a credit, and that credit's going to go towards fishing equipment and hunting equipment, or they can cut you a check. So again, I do have a lot of agencies that don't bid it out because they're going to buy equipment that's on state contract or something that they're buying from us anyways. But I'm all for putting it out to bid, but you can see there's some negatives to doing that. So.
And a lot of agencies may be forced to put it out to bid because of the people that says, hey, I want my fair chance of getting some guns from the agency.
My question is, for the trade, if we use lawmen's, and our concern, me and my sergeant's concern, is that we do the trade, we're doing all the work, but then maybe another sector of the police department will reap the benefits, basically, because like they will use it for training, like they can get ammunition and SWAT gear, whatever, but we're not getting anything. Like we need lockers, we need evidence bags, things like that.
That happens
you know?
a lot, and that comes up a lot. And you guys got to remember, we're a huge distributor for Forensic Source, Searchy, all that equipment. And I'll be honest with you, we don't typically advertise a lot of that stuff. But if you guys do the work, I don't care who at the department spends the money. Mm-hmm. We can do everything from 511 equipment for you guys, flashlight equipment to crime scene equipment, whatever you guys need. So, and something else too, just a reminder, you guys were talking about the bidding process, and another negative side to having the local gun shop get these guns is 90% of the time they're going to resell these guns in the same city that they were picked up in. We have offered in the past, so we're more than happy to sell these guns out of the city, out of the state, and as far out as you want us to sell them. That's whatever your command staff prefers.
So can that be a condition if we trade
It
with you?
can.
Like
It
we can
just-
say we want them sold out of the county.
Absolutely. You need to let us know up front what you guys want, whether it's, hey, we want to give you our guns, but we want to keep the receivers. Great. We want to give you our guns, but we'd like you to sell them outside of Raleigh. Great. Or, hey, we want them outside of the state. Great. Now, keep in mind, you might get 5% less or some kind of number, depending on how much we have to take as a loss to sell them in Wyoming or something like that. But it's a very easy process, and we'll write it out in the contract or the quote or whatever you prefer.
And I have one more thing. You said, like, if you're going to be trading them, we haven't traded anything yet. We're in the process. We have so many old guns. We're doing e-traces and trying to catch up paperwork, trying to locate the owners. But we've got the approval from the chief that we will be, I work for Matthews Police Department, so we got the approval from the chief that we will definitely be trading the guns. But you said if we trade to a local business, then we'll have to go with their supplies for trade or cut a check. My understanding from reading the new statutes and what all, if we actually get a check, then it has to go straight to the school system. See, that was my understanding. Then I got a call last week from the lady from propertyroom.com that handles guns, and she said she left me I wasn't in the office, so she left me a voicemail, and I heard it at home that she's got agencies in North Carolina that are working with them to sell their guns, and the money does not have to go to the school system. So I'm a little confused on that.
The new law, it doesn't go to the school board, it comes back to the agency for the guns.
So if we actually sell the guns, see that's
This is my understanding of it. It's a two-part thing. If it is a found firearm, recovered, you can't find the owner, and it's to be sold, that money goes back to the agency. If it's ordered to be sold by the court system, then that's the money that goes back to the school board. Yeah, it's a crime gun. So yeah, they're going to get the benefit out of that. And as far as you or your section, getting the money back from what you're selling because you're doing all the work, I agree with you, but that's up to the administration too, and I guess up to the local law and the governing body of how that money is to be reused or brought back into the system. I know our agency in the past, if we got it, it just went into the county's general fund. Now, the benefit of that was we actually took money out of the general fund when we needed things. So, and it's not like you're going to be rich from selling these guns anyhow, probably.
When you're talking about found guns, you're saying that you don't need a court order to sell the gun?
Right. Well, that's why I wish I had the copy of the law with me. But the one part is a found gun. Say somebody just finds it laying on the road and they come and they turn it in. Prior to this new law, whoever found it could come back and claim it. And they could be, here's your gun. No dealership or anything. But once they change the law, if you have a gun like that, they can't come and claim it. But it can be sold as long as it meets the criteria, it has a serial number and all that stuff. So it can be sold. And that is the chief of the agency, whether it's the police or the sheriff, has that right to say, well, I'm going to sell the gun because it meets the criteria, and that's all they have to do. But it has to be sold through an FFL. Hold that.
okay.
Okay, disposition of unclaimed firearms not confiscated or seized as trial evidence is 15-11.2. One of our favorite things that we have to do is hold it for 30 days, and then we have to publish a notice, right? And that's one of the things we're trying to get changed to where we can just advertise it electronically instead of having to publish a notice.
This information that he's giving you is also on our website. It's one of the shortcuts in the website.
All right. When law enforcement agency finds or receives a firearm and the firearm remains unclaimed for a period of 180 days, the agency shall publish at least once in the newspaper statement that the firearm was unclaimed and that it will be sold within 30 days, and a brief description of the firearm. Let's see. If the firearm remains unclaimed for 30 days after publication, then the head or chief of the law enforcement agency shall, not may, but shall order the disposition of the firearm in one of the following ways. And that was one of the things that they changed that a lot of people didn't like, the fact that they took the judicial system out of this part of the law. But by having the firearm destroyed, if the firearm does not have a legible, unique identification number or is unsafe because of wear, damage, or age, the head or chief law enforcement agency shall maintain a record of the destruction of the firearm. So they can decide, no, I'm going to destroy it because it doesn't meet any of this criteria. FYI, I think the ATF says if there's a scratch across the serial number, it's not a valid serial number. That's an altered serial number. Just thought I'd throw that out in case you didn't know that. By sale, trade, or exchange by the agency to a FFL in accordance with all